Hi, I'm Carmen Langston with the North Little Rock School District. Today I want to show 4th and 5th grade teachers how to administer the beginning of year literacy screeners. The purpose of the screeners are to help the teachers identify the students who are not meeting grade level learning goals. These screening assessments check for warning signs to see if students might be at risk for reading difficulties, including dyslexia. Why is it important? First of all, it is the law, part of dyslexia law and part of the LEARNS Act. It aims to identify students at risk for dyslexia, reading difficulties, and the need for intervention. It identifies students on track for successful reading outcomes. Screening data are used to make decisions about the level of instructional support students need, and it helps teachers to identify students who are not meeting grade level learning goals. The person responsible to give the screeners is the classroom teacher. You will give the screeners in the order that they appear on the calendar from left to right. I'll show you the calendar in just a moment, and then you'll be able to find it again on the Google Classroom. You'll want to have your computer open and enter the score as the student leaves you. Student will come to your small group table to take their assessment one-on-one, and then when the student is finished, please enter the score. If you're in danger of not completing your screeners on time, you should reach out to your building level literacy coach if you have one, or your administrator. This does not remove your responsibility from continuing the testing alongside anyone who may assist you. The first assessment given in grades 4 and 5 is the oral reading fluency, also known as the ORF. These are grade level reading passages. It measures a grade level reading fluency. You're going to give 3 passages in each go-round. For example, at the beginning of the year, I'll give passage 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. You'll time the student and only allow them to read for 1 minute. You'll start your stopwatch after the student says the first word of the passage. When the timer goes off, you'll place a bracket and say stop after 1 minute. If a child is trying to read and it gives no response in 3 seconds, go ahead and tell them the word and mark it as incorrect and allow the child to keep reading. The discontinue rule. If no words are read correctly in the first line, say stop and record a score of 0, and do not administer the retelling portion of the assessment. If fewer than 10 words are read correctly on the first passage, do not administer the retell or passages 2 or 3.
I would like you to read a story to me. Please do your best reading. If you do not know a word, I will read the word for you. Keep reading until I say stop. Be ready to tell me all about the story when you finish. Put your finger under the first word. Ready? Begin.
It was the day of the jump rope contest. Kim and Anna were going to complete. Kim was going to do a new trick. Anna was going to help. The 2 girls watched as yearning children who took a turn in the contest. The yearning children jumped and skipped rope in a circle. They were just beginning to learn fantastic tricks.
Stop. Okay. Now, I'm going to turn this page. Now tell me as much as you can about the story you just read. Ready? Begin.
They were having a jump rope contest.
Can you tell me anything more about the story? Thank you.
Again, if fewer than 40 words are read correctly on any passage, you're going to use your professional judgment whether to administer the retell for that passage. If a student stops, not a hesitation on a specific item, say, keep going, repeat that as often as necessary. If the student loses his or her place, point to it, repeat it as often as needed. Do not complete the maze portion of the assessment. You'll report on the tracker. You're going to circle the score that falls in the middle. I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. That's the medial score rather. This is the one you will report on, and you will report on words correct and accuracy. To find the accuracy, total up the total correct words and divide it by the total words read times 100. For example, if a student read 78 words correct, but they made it up to 87 words, but those were not all correct, I would take 87 and divide it by, I would take 78 and divide it by 87. My lower number of words correct divided by the total words that were read to give me my percentage of accuracy. Here's an example. 85 words correct divided by 95 words read times 100 give me a percentage of 89%. Let me come out of this assessment here. This is the assessment calendar that you will follow. For 4th grade, we'll start here. You see the arrow that goes across. Here's the beginning of the year. Tells me I need to complete all of my assessments by Friday, September 27th, and I'm giving this to all the students in my class. These assessments are only needed if a student flags in red or yellow, which we'll talk about in a moment. So I start here with decoding under the Oral Reading Fluency, ORF. I open up the links and I can print them. These are the student booklets. They look like this. You'll need one for each student and it will last you the entire year. This is what the teacher has in front of her. You have a spot to score the beginning, middle, and end of the year assessments where you'll report the words correct, their score, and their accuracy. You do not complete the maze portion. You have a copy of what the student is reading here. At the end of each line, it will tell you how many words are on that line, so you don't have to count them one by one. For example, if they read up to here, that was 14 words. If they read up to here, this is 19 words, and so forth. I'm reporting on the total words read in 1 minute. I subtract any errors that the child made, and that gives me my words correct that the child read. And then I write that on the front cover of the booklet here. Words correct, how many errors, and what's the accuracy rating. The child has the student probes. So you will print these and put these in front of the child. At the beginning of the year, I can see that the child is going to read passage 1.1, which I can see down here in the bottom right corner, how to make dill pickles. They'll also read passage 1.2, water skiing, and they'll read passage 1.3, the power of magnets. When I am finished with giving the assessments, I will have recorded all 3 of those scores from those passages here on the front cover of the testing booklet. You'll want to find the one that falls in the middle. For example, if I had a score of 82, 93, and 71, 82 truly would fall in the middle. So I would circle the score of 82, and that would be the one that I would report the words correct and accuracy on. You report the medial score. The next assessment that you're going to give is the DSA. Let's take a look at that. The DSA is the Developmental Spelling Analysis. The directions are included on the first assessment page. Please read them carefully before you decide to give the assessment. Kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd grade no longer gives this assessment. This is now only given in grades 4 and 5, and we give the section called syllable juncture. You administer the DSA just like a spelling test to your whole class. You begin by dictating the word, that means saying the word, putting it in a sentence, and saying the word again from the starting feature list that corresponds with your grade level. we will do syllable juncture. You'll complete all 25 words. Next, you'll take your tests up and score them. As you're looking at your tests, if the word is fully correct, put a number 2 beside it. If a word is partially correct, but it only has the feature correct, I'll tell you about that in a minute, you'll mark a number 1 beside it. If the word is fully incorrect, put a 0 for nothing. The feature of a word is something that we are looking at inside the word. For example, let's take a look down here. This scoring inventory is going to tell you exactly how to do it. In these examples, you see that the word was jet. The student wrote D-R-E-T, dret. So we would mark 0 points. The student fully misspelled the word and missed the feature. When you're dictating your words, you'll notice that a portion of it is underlined. If you look at this one, the word was ship. SH is underlined. Therefore, SH is the feature. The student wrote ship, but they did get the SH, so I put a 1 beside it. On the last example, the word was bet. The feature underlined is the letter E, eh. The student fully spelled it correctly, so I score it as 2 points, where I put a 2 beside it. The word was fully correct. After I'm finished marking my 0s, 1s, and 2s, you're going to count up the number of 2s, or number of fully correct words, and you'll report that as the stage score. Remember, do not count by 2s. Just count each 2 as one correct item. The other section at the bottom has a table that looks like this. These are the feature knowledge scores. You're going to add up how many section A's were spelled correctly or had the feature correct. That's a 1 or a 2. How many B's and so on. And record that in the space provided on the answer sheet. There are 5 features. In the kindergarten assessment, those features are A, B, C, D, and E. And in syllable juncture, they will not be labeled A, B, C, D, or E because this is a higher level of the developmental spelling analysis. A perfect score would look like all 5s. If a student's stage score, or total correct words, is less than 12 out of 25, you're going to drop down a level. If a student's stage score is more than 21, you can go up to the next level, known as derivational constancy. There is a class recording sheet available so that you can analyze the students' scores. As you're looking at the directions, there used to be a video linked on how to score the DSA. If you click on that, that YouTube link is broken and it's no longer available. Let's have a look at our DSA links. You'll find them here under encoding. I can click on that and open it, and it's going to give me all of my directions. This is letter naming. I'm not giving letter naming because I'm a 4th or 5th grade teacher, so I continue to scroll on until I find the section on syllable juncture. That's within Word. Here is syllable juncture. These are the words that you're calling. This is the sentence that you'll say it in, and then you'll call the word again. So for example, I would say number 1, furnace. The furnace was broken, so it was cold in the house. Furnace. This is the recording sheet that the student will write their answers on. As you can see over here on the right-hand side, there are letters that correspond with the feature knowledge table on the bottom. When I take up my papers at the end, I'm marking my 0s, 1s, and 2s over here so that I can score it. The other thing that is linked on here is the class recording sheet. It looks like this. I'm in the SJ, or syllable juncture stage. I record my students' names on the left, and then I can record the 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1 feature scores here in the matching columns. If a student that you have given the ORF to does not meet the grade level benchmark, and their score doesn't fall in the green, then I must give the core phonics. This is my level 1 assessment. The core phonics is a decoding assessment. These directions at the top will tell you how to give it. It's fairly simple. You want to go ahead and print this out. This portion is the front cover that's for you, where you can record all the scores that the students give. These sheets are the ones that are for the teacher, where you can mark it as the student is telling you things like the letters and sounds and reading their words. It goes all the way up through reading multisyllabic words. This is what the student is looking at. So on the first section, I'm asking the student to tell me the names of each of these capital letters. In part B, I'm asking them to name the lowercase letters. In part C, they're telling me the sounds of these consonants. In part D, they tell me the sounds of the vowels, both long and short. In part E, they are reading these CVC words. As you can see, the first 2 rows are real words, and the bottom row is nonsense words. You can go ahead and tell the student that the bottom row will be nonsense words, so they do not try to turn them into real words. We keep going up, and the difficulty continues to increase. Here we read with blends, then digraphs, then R-controlled vowels, then vowel consonant E, then vowel teams and diphthongs, all the way up to multisyllabic words. This only needs to be given if a student falls in the yellow or the red on the oral reading fluency. Share here. Okay. When you are giving the core phonics, if the student becomes fatigued or or you are scoring so many consecutive errors that you can tell the student is truly not going to be able to read the next section, go ahead and discontinue the test at that time. You can use your professional judgment. If you feel like they were just fatigued, you can always go back and administer the remaining items at a later time. However, if you can tell that they're not going to be able to read the next section, go ahead and just stop the test at that section. As far as scoring, when you're looking at letters and sounds, you just get a added together total for all of those. There is a scoring guide. It looks like this, and it is linked on there. So it will tell you the benchmark for all of the letter sounds is a 73. If they are looking at I'm sorry, I'm going to scroll down, this is Spanish. 83, excuse me. 83 is the benchmark for all of the added together letter names and sounds. For the reading items, if it has 15 items, 14 out of 15 is the benchmark to be considered at grade level. And on the last section, it has 24 total items. If they get 21 or more out of 24, they are considered to be meeting benchmark. So our grade levels can use the results of this assessment to select decodable readers and to plan any sort of phonics interventions that need to be given. For grades 4 and 5, we have an intervention program called Just Words, and you can match the unmastered levels to the Just Words unit. We also have UFly, and you can match what is needed in your UFly manual and give those lessons. Either one is fine. If you need support or you have questions, follow the chain of support. Number 1, contact a team member at your same grade level or at a similar school. Number 2, a building level coach if you have one. Number 3, ask a question to your building level administrator. If you do not get an answer from any of those, go ahead and reach out to me and I should be able to answer that question for you. I did show you one video of the ORF. I want to show you one other one where you can see what the teacher is marking. The teacher in this video is going to be marking the inaccuracies on an iPad. You will not be marking on an iPad. You will just have a paper and pencil where you will cross through if a student is calling a word incorrectly. However, if a student calls the word incorrectly and then self-corrects the word, you can write the letters SC above that word, and it is no longer incorrect.
Please read this out loud. If you get stuck, I will tell you the word so you can keep reading. When I say stop, I may ask you to tell me about what you read, so do your best reading. Start here.
Bobby.
Ready? Begin.
Bobby was on his way home from school one day. On his walk, he saw something green in the snow. He stopped and stared. He thought he was seeing things green in the snow. It could be what it seemed to be, could it? He bent down in the snow and quickly dug it out. It was a $5 bill. He carefully smoothed it flat. He wondered if it was real money or just play money. It looked real. That made him feel good. This was a lucky day. But then he felt bad. He knew that he never lost $5. He would cry and cry. Once he dropped a dime on the floor, and it rolled into the heating vent. He never saw the dime again. What was it like to lose 50 dimes?
Stop.
There you could see that as the student first called a word incorrectly and then self-corrected, the teacher re-clicked it and it turned to green. Since we are not on an iPad and we do not use mClass, you'll just mark SC at the top of that word, and then you can add it in with the total words that were read correctly. If a student reads a word incorrectly, just slash through it, and then that word is read incorrectly and is counted as an error. When the student finished reading, or rather when the 1 minute timer went off, the teacher put a bracket after. That shows you where the student stopped, and you know how many words to count up to. I hope this video has been helpful for you. Again, if you have questions, just follow that chain of support and reach out to me if you are not able to get any, and I'll be glad to help you out with that. Thank you.